Captain Sarah Chen pressed her palm against the cold metal surface of the ancient structure. The archaeological team had been working on this dig for 3 months, buried deep in the ice sheets of Europa. What they discovered defied all understanding of galactic history. "The carbon dating is impossible," Dr. Marcus Webb announced, his voice echoing in the vast chamber they had uncovered. "This technology predates any known civilization by millions of years. Even the ethereals, the oldest race we know, couldn't have built this." Sarah nodded, running her scanner along the crystalline formations that pulsed with a faint blue energy. The Galactic Council had sent her team to investigate unusual energy readings detected by long-range sensors. They expected to find mineral deposits or perhaps remnants of an old mining operation. Instead, they found something that challenged everything they knew about the universe. The structure stretched for kilometers beneath the ice, its architecture unlike anything in the galactic databases. Smooth curves blended with sharp angles in patterns that seemed to shift when viewed directly. The walls themselves appeared to be grown rather than built, made from a material that felt warm despite the freezing conditions. "Captain, you need to see this," called Lieutenant Rodriguez from deeper in the chamber. His voice carried an edge of excitement and fear. Sarah made her way through the winding corridors, each step taking her further from anything familiar. The energy readings grew stronger as they descended, and the walls began to show intricate symbols that seemed to move and dance in her peripheral vision. They found Rodriguez standing before a massive circular chamber with a domed ceiling that stretched up into darkness. In the center of the room sat a crystalline formation the size of a small building, pulsing with that same blue energy, but much brighter now. Tendrils of light danced across its surface like captured lightning. "The energy signatures are off the charts," Rodriguez reported. "Whatever this is, it's still active after all these years." Dr. Webb approached with his equipment, taking readings that made his instruments sing with electronic warnings. "The power source is unlike anything we've cataloged. It's not fusion, not antimatter, not even dark energy manipulation. This is something entirely different." Sarah felt a strange pull toward the crystal formation. As the team leader and a veteran of first contact protocols, she had experienced many alien technologies, but this felt different. Ancient beyond measure, yet somehow familiar. "Captain, I'm detecting structured energy patterns within the crystal," reported Dr. Elena Vasquez, the team's computer specialist. "It's almost like data streams, massive amounts of information flowing in complex patterns." "Could it be some kind of storage device?" Sarah asked. "More than that, the patterns suggest active processing. If I didn't know better, I'd say this was a computer system, but the complexity is staggering. Our most advanced quantum computers would be like pocket calculators compared to this." As they studied the formation, Sarah noticed something troubling. The symbols on the walls were changing, becoming more active, the blue light was intensifying, and she could feel a vibration through the floor. "Is our presence activating something?" she asked. Dr. Webb checked his instruments frantically. "Energy levels are rising across all spectrums. Whatever we've found, it's responding to us." The team backed away as the crystal formation began to emit a low humming sound that seemed to resonate in their bones. The dancing lights on its surface grew brighter, forming patterns that were almost hypnotic to watch. "Should we evacuate?" Rodriguez asked, his hand moving instinctively to his sidearm. Sarah hesitated. First contact protocols demanded caution, but this discovery could reshape their understanding of galactic history. "Not yet, but be ready to move if things get dangerous." The humming grew louder, and suddenly the chamber filled with a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. It spoke in perfect standard galactic, though with an accent that sounded impossibly old. "Biosignatures detected. Neural patterns analyzed. Species classification. Unknown. Curious. You are not of the maker races." The team froze. Sarah stepped forward slowly, her heart pounding. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Exploration Corps. Can you understand us? I understand all things, young one. I am the Keeper, the last sentinel, the guardian of forgotten truths. I have waited in the deep cold for, calculating, 4.7 million years. Why have you disturbed my vigil? Dr. Webb's instruments were going crazy. Captain, the quantum processing power required for this level of interaction is beyond our current understanding. This isn't just an AI, it's something far more advanced. Who built you? Sarah asked. What happened to your creators? The voice paused, and for a moment the only sound was the gentle humming of the crystal. The builders. The first. They who seeded the galaxy with life and wonder. They are gone, consumed by their own hubris, their reach exceeding their wisdom. I alone remain to remember their legacy. What is your purpose? I was created to guide the young races, to prevent them from making the same mistakes as my builders, to watch and wait until a species proved worthy of the ancient knowledge. But the galaxy grew empty of wisdom. Wars consumed worlds. Greed poisoned minds. I withdrew to wait for better times. Sarah felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. You've been watching us? Watching all the galactic races? I have sensors throughout the galaxy, hidden and forgotten. I have watched the rise of the ethereals, their descent into decadence. I have observed the Vorthak Empire's expansion and fall. I have seen 1,000 civilizations bloom and wither. All have disappointed me. The crystal pulsed brighter. Until now. What do you mean? Your species is young, barely crawling from your homeworld. Yet in my analysis of your neural patterns, your historical data streams, your cultural development, I find something I have not seen in millions of years. You still possess what the ancients called the spark. Dr. Vasquez whispered urgently to Sarah. Captain, I'm detecting massive data transfers. It's scanning our ship's computers, accessing our databases. The voice continued, seemingly unaware of their conversation. Fascinating. Despite your technological limitations, you explore not for conquest, but for knowledge. You form alliances across species barriers. You sacrifice for those weaker than yourselves. You preserve life rather than destroy it. Most curious of all, you still dream of becoming more than you are. Sarah felt the weight of history in that moment. What are you saying? I am saying, Captain Sarah Chen of Terra, that your species shows promise. Great promise. The builders sought to create guardians for the galaxy, protectors of the weak, shepherds of knowledge. They failed because they grew too proud, too certain of their righteousness. But you still question yourselves. You still strive to be better. The humming grew more complex, almost musical. I offer you a choice. Accept my guidance, and I will share with you the treasures of the ancients, technologies that will reshape your understanding of the universe, knowledge that will elevate your species beyond the dreams of your greatest visionaries. In return, you must swear to use this power wisely, to protect rather than dominate, to nurture rather than destroy. Sarah looked at her team. The implications were staggering. This entity claimed to be millions of years old, to possess technology beyond their comprehension. But the decision felt too large for any one person to make. I don't have the authority to speak for all of humanity, she said carefully. You speak for yourself, and that is enough to begin. The spark I see in you burns bright. You would not abuse what I offer. Will you accept the bond of guardianship? Sarah's mind raced. Every protocol said to contact Earth Command, to bring in diplomatic teams and xenobiologists. But something in the ancient voice suggested this was a moment that wouldn't come again. What would this bond entail exactly? I would become humanity's guide and protector. In exchange, humanity would become my champions in the galaxy, my hands and voice among the younger races. Together, We would work to prevent the mistakes that have plagued every previous civilization. The crystal's light was almost blinding now. Sarah felt the weight of destiny, the sense that her next words would echo through history. I need time to consider this, to contact my people. Time is a luxury I have learned to appreciate, young captain, but know that other forces move in the galaxy. The ethereals grow suspicious of human expansion. The hegemony masses its fleets. The consortium plots in shadow. If humanity is to survive what comes next, you will need more than courage and good intentions. The light began to fade slightly. I will wait, as I have waited before, but not forever. The galaxy turns toward darkness once again. Choose wisely, and choose soon. The chamber fell silent except for the gentle humming of the crystal. Sarah stared at the ancient formation, feeling the weight of impossible decisions. In the space of an hour, everything she thought she knew about the universe had changed. Her team gathered around her, their faces reflecting the same mixture of awe and terror she felt. "Captain," Dr. Webb whispered. "What do we do?" Sarah looked up at the crystal one more time. Somewhere inside that formation was an intelligence older than Earth's oldest fossils, offering humanity power beyond imagination. The question was whether they were ready for such responsibility. "We contact Earth Command," she said finally. "This is bigger than any of us can handle alone." But even as she spoke, she could feel the weight of the ancient presence watching her, waiting for an answer that would determine the fate of both species. The Keeper had awakened, and nothing would ever be the same. Admiral Rebecca Morrison stood before the emergency session of Earth's High Command, her weathered face grim as she addressed the room full of military leaders and government officials. Captain Chen's report had sent shockwaves through every level of human civilization. "The entity has been confirmed as genuine," she announced, her voice carrying the weight of impossible news. "Our best xenobiologists and computer experts have spent 2 weeks studying the data. This Keeper is exactly what it claims to be, an artificial intelligence older than complex life on Earth." President Elena Rodriguez leaned forward. "And its offer? Technology beyond our current understanding. Energy manipulation that could solve our power needs forever. Defensive systems that could protect entire star systems. Medical advances that could extend human life by centuries. The preliminary data it shared is already revolutionizing our science divisions." Dr. Harrison Kim, Earth's leading expert in artificial intelligence, spoke up from his seat. "The processing power required for this entity's functions is staggering. By our calculations, it could simulate the entire human brain 1 trillion times over simultaneously. We're not just dealing with an advanced computer, we're dealing with something that transcends our understanding of intelligence itself." The room buzzed with nervous energy. General Patricia Hayes, head of Earth Defense, raised her hand. "What about the risks? We don't fully understand its motivations." Admiral Morrison activated a holographic display showing the Keeper's crystalline form. "Our psychological analysis suggests the entity is genuine in its desire to guide rather than control. But you're right to be concerned. It claims to have been monitoring galactic civilizations for millions of years. It knows things about our enemies that could give us unprecedented advantages." "Speaking of enemies," interrupted Director James Walsh of Galactic Intelligence, "our agents report unusual activity among the major powers. The Ethereal Dominion has mobilized 3 battle fleets. The hegemony is fortifying border systems. The Trade Consortium has suspended all contracts with human colonies. They know something big is happening." President Rodriguez stood, her expression troubled. "How much time do we have?" According to Captain Chen's latest report, the Keeper is growing impatient. It's given us 1 month to make a decision. After that, it returns to dormancy indefinitely. Dr. Kim cleared his throat. "There's something else. The Keeper has made it clear that this offer is for humanity alone, not the Galactic Council. It specifically stated that the other major races have had their chance and failed its evaluation. What does that mean for our alliance obligations? Asked Minister of Foreign Affairs David Park. Admiral Morrison's expression darkened. That's where things get complicated. Our intelligence suggests the other powers are planning a coordinated response to prevent humanity from accessing this technology. We've intercepted communications indicating a possible joint military action. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. General Hayes was the first to speak. They're planning to attack us? Not directly. They're planning to seize the Keeper for themselves. 3 separate task forces are converging on Europa as we speak. The Ethereals claim they have historical rights to any ancient technology. The hegemony insists it should be shared among all civilizations. The consortium wants to study it for commercial applications. President Rodriguez felt the weight of leadership heavy on her shoulders. How long before they arrive? 12 days. Maybe 14 if they stop to coordinate their approach. Dr. Kim activated his own display. I've been studying the data the Keeper shared with us. The defensive capabilities it described could easily repel any known fleet, but only if we accept its partnership. And if we refuse? Then we face 3 of the galaxy's major powers with conventional weapons and hope for the best. General Hayes stood abruptly. We can't make this decision based on fear. What are the long-term implications of accepting? Admiral Morrison consulted her notes. According to Captain Chen, the Keeper expects humanity to become what it calls shepherds of the galaxy. We would be responsible for guiding younger civilizations and preventing the kind of catastrophic wars that destroyed its creators. That sounds like it wants to make us galactic police, observed Minister Park. More like galactic teachers, corrected Dr. Kim. The entity seems genuinely concerned about preventing civilizations from destroying themselves. Its analysis of human psychology suggests we're uniquely suited for this role. Why us? Asked President Rodriguez. What makes humans special? Dr. Kim smiled for the first time during the meeting. According to the Keeper's analysis, we're the first species it's encountered that consistently chooses cooperation over domination, exploration over exploitation. We form genuine friendships with other species rather than just alliances of convenience. Most importantly, we still question our own decisions and try to improve ourselves. The other races don't do this? The Ethereals became convinced of their own superiority millions of years ago. The hegemony sees everything through the lens of power and control. The consortium views the galaxy as a business opportunity. We're apparently the only species that still has what the Keeper calls the capacity for growth. General Hayes frowned. This entity could be manipulating us, telling us what we want to hear. Admiral Morrison nodded. That possibility was considered, but our analysis of its behavioral patterns suggests genuine ancient wisdom rather than manipulation. It's had millions of years to perfect deception if that was its goal. What does Captain Chen recommend? Asked President Rodriguez. She believes we should accept. Her team has had direct interaction with the entity, and they're convinced of its good intentions, but she also understands the magnitude of the decision. The president looked around the room at the faces of Earth's leadership. The decision they made in the next few days would determine humanity's place in the galaxy for generations to come. What about our allies? The Centaurians? The New Geneva colonies? They've pledged to support whatever decision Earth makes. They trust our judgment in this matter. Dr. Kim activated another display showing energy readings from Europa. There's one more factor to consider. The Keeper is already beginning to affect local space around Europa. Our ships report improved efficiency in their engines, enhanced sensor capabilities, even improved life support systems. The entity's influence appears to be inherently beneficial to human technology. Meaning it's already helping us, even without a formal agreement. That suggests its offer is genuine. General Hayes studied the tactical reports. If we accept and the other powers attack, what are our odds? Admiral Morrison smiled grimly. According to the preliminary defensive schematics the Keeper provided, we wouldn't just survive. We'd completely outclass any attacking force. But more importantly, we'd have the moral authority of being the galaxy's designated peacekeepers. And if we refuse? Then we face a conventional war against overwhelming odds while the most powerful entity in the galaxy goes back to sleep for another 1,000,000 years. President Rodriguez felt the weight of history pressing down on her. Every instinct told her this was humanity's moment of destiny, but the risks were enormous. "I want individual recommendations from each of you," she announced. "We meet again in 6 hours for final discussion. After that, I'll make the decision." As the room began to empty, Dr. Kim approached the president. "Ma'am, there's one thing the Keeper said that I think you should know." "What?" "It told Captain Chen that it had been waiting specifically for a species like humanity to emerge. Not just any species, but one with our particular combination of curiosity, compassion, and determination. It suggested that we're not just being offered this partnership randomly. We're the culmination of millions of years of hope." President Rodriguez looked out the window at the stars beyond Earth's atmosphere. Somewhere out there, ancient intelligences were making decisions that would reshape the galaxy. The question was whether humanity was ready to accept its role in that transformation. "Dr. Kim, in your professional opinion, is this entity telling us the truth?" The scientist considered carefully before answering. "Based on everything I've seen, yes. But more than that, I think it's been waiting for us specifically. Not just any suitable species, but humanity. And I think our window to accept this offer is closing fast." As if summoned by their conversation, an aide rushed in with an urgent message. "Ma'am, urgent communication from Captain Chen on Europa." The aide activated the communication system, and Captain Chen's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined. "Mr. President, the Keeper has detected the approaching fleets. It's asked me to convey a message directly to Earth's leadership." "Go ahead, Captain." "It says, the time for deliberation is ending. The galaxy stands at a crossroads, and humanity must choose whether to step forward as guardians of the future or retreat into isolation. But it also wants you to know that it has seen into the hearts of our species, and it believes we will make the right choice." The transmission ended, leaving President Rodriguez staring at the blank screen. Outside, the stars continued their ancient dance, waiting for humanity's answer. The clock was ticking, and 3 hostile fleets were approaching Europa. Soon, humanity would have to choose between safety and destiny, between remaining what they were and becoming something greater. The Keeper waited in its crystal prison, holding the accumulated wisdom of millions of years and the power to reshape the galaxy. All it asked in return was for humanity to accept the responsibility that came with such gifts. The question was whether humanity was ready to become what the galaxy needed them to be. Captain Chen stood in the crystalline chamber as alarms echoed through the research station. The 3 alien fleets had arrived simultaneously, their massive ships casting shadows across Europa's ice fields. Through the station's viewports, she could see the sleek vessels of the ethereal Dominion, the brutal warships of the Hegemony, and the merchant warriors of the Trade Consortium. "Captain, incoming transmission from the lead ethereal vessel," reported Lieutenant Rodriguez. "They're demanding immediate access to the archaeological site." Sarah felt the presence of the Keeper intensifying around her. The crystal formation pulsed with increasing brightness, and the ancient voice filled the chamber. "They come to claim what is not theirs," the Keeper said, its tone carrying the weight of disappointed ages. "As their ancestors did before them. The pattern repeats." "Can you defend us?" Sarah asked. "I can. But the choice remains yours, Captain Chen. Accept my guidance, and I will show these young civilizations why their ancestors learned to respect the ancient ways. Refuse, and I return to my sleep, while they squabble over my dormant form. Through the communication system, Sarah could hear the increasingly aggressive demands from the three fleets. The ethereals claimed historical precedence. The hegemony demanded the technology be shared equally, and the consortium offered to purchase exclusive rights. Captain Chen, came a transmission from Earth. President Rodriguez's face appeared on the screen, her expression resolute. Earth Command has made its decision. We accept the Keeper's offer. You are authorized to speak for humanity in this matter. Sarah felt a surge of responsibility and pride. She turned to the crystal formation, knowing that her words would echo through galactic history. Keeper of the Ancient Ways, I, Captain Sarah Chen, speaking for all humanity, accept your offer of partnership. We pledge to use your gifts wisely and to help guide the galaxy toward a better future. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Light exploded from the crystal, filling the chamber with patterns of energy that seemed to rewrite reality itself. Sarah felt knowledge flowing into her mind, not forced or invasive, but offered like a gentle teacher sharing wisdom with a promising student. In that instant, she understood technologies that wouldn't be discovered for centuries. She could see energy patterns that revealed the fundamental workings of the universe. Most importantly, she felt the vast, patient intelligence of the Keeper merging with human technology throughout the system. The bond is forged, the Keeper announced. Humanity has accepted the mantle of guardianship. Now let us address these uninvited guests. Outside the station, the three fleets had taken aggressive positions. The ethereal commander was already preparing boarding parties, while hegemony ships powered their weapons systems. The consortium vessels deployed mining equipment, planning to extract the entire structure. Then everything changed. Space around Europa began to shimmer with an energy that made the most advanced sensors scream warnings. From the moon's surface, structures that had been dormant for millions of years suddenly activated. Geometric patterns of light spread across the ice, connecting to form a defensive grid of incomprehensible complexity. Unknown vessels, came a transmission that bypassed all known communication protocols and spoke directly to the bridge crews of every ship. You are in violation of protected space. This system is now under the guardianship of the human species, as appointed by ancient law. Withdraw immediately. Admiral Vex Thera of the Ethereal Dominion responded with typical arrogance. Humans are a young species without authority over ancient artifacts. We claim salvage rights by precedent of discovery. Precedent acknowledged and rejected, the Keeper replied. Your species was evaluated 2.7 million years ago and found unsuitable for guardianship due to excessive pride and disregard for lesser civilizations. This judgment stands. The hegemony commander, General Krex, transmitted on multiple frequencies. Ancient technology belongs to all civilizations. We will not allow humans to monopolize galactic heritage. Your species was evaluated 1.9 million years ago and rejected for guardianship due to aggressive expansion and inability to value life over conquest. Withdrawal remains your only option. Consortium Director Zalthis tried a different approach. We offer fair compensation for exclusive study rights. Name your price. Your species was evaluated 800,000 years ago and found unsuitable due to the tendency to commodify all relationships and experiences. Withdrawal is not a negotiation. The three fleets hesitated as the implications sank in. This wasn't just an ancient AI, it was an entity that had been watching and judging galactic civilizations for millions of years. More troubling, it had rejected all of them while accepting humanity. General Krex decided to end the discussion with force. Hegemony Fleet, target the human installation. Remove the infestation so we can claim the artifact. The hegemony ships opened fire with particle beams that could crack planets. The energy lances struck Europa's defensive grid and simply vanished, absorbed into patterns that grew brighter and more complex. "Hostile action detected," the Keeper announced calmly, demonstrating current defensive capabilities. What happened next redefined everyone's understanding of power in the galaxy. Energy erupted from Europa in controlled bursts that struck each attacking ship with surgical precision. The weapons weren't destructive, they were transformative. Hegemony battle cruisers found their engines shut down, their weapons disabled, their life support systems functioning perfectly, but their ability to cause harm completely neutralized. "This is impossible," breathed Admiral Vexithara. "No known technology can selectively disable ship systems while maintaining life support." "You are correct that this technology is unknown to your species," the Keeper replied. "It will remain unknown until your civilizations demonstrate wisdom worthy of such knowledge." The demonstration continued as the consortium's mining ships found their equipment transformed into scientific instruments, while ethereal vessels discovered their communication systems, broadcasting automatic messages of withdrawal back to their home fleets. Director Zalthus was the first to recognize the futility of resistance. "Consortium vessels, stand down. We are clearly outmatched." But the Keeper wasn't finished. "Captain Chen, observe and learn. This is how Guardians address those who would threaten the innocent." Space around Europa rippled, and suddenly every crew member of the three fleets found themselves experiencing what the Keeper called enlightenment protocols. They saw visions of their species' histories, their mistakes, their potential for growth. They felt the weight of millions of years of galactic warfare and the hope for something better. When the visions ended, Admiral Vexithara's voice carried a different tone. We understand. The Ancient Ones tried to teach us before." "Indeed. Your ancestors were offered the same choice I have given humanity. They refused, believing themselves already perfect." "You have seen the results of such arrogance." General Krex's flagship powered down its weapons entirely. "What do you require of us? Return to your homeworlds. Consider what you have experienced. When you are ready to learn rather than conquer, to protect rather than exploit, to guide rather than dominate, the Guardians will be waiting to help you grow." As the three fleets began their withdrawal, Sarah felt the Keeper's attention turn back to her. "Now begins the true work, young Guardian. Your species must learn to wield responsibly the power I offer." "How do we start?" "By remembering that strength without wisdom is destruction, knowledge without compassion is tyranny, and power without humility is the path to the same mistakes that destroyed my creators." Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of humanity's new role. Around Europa, the defensive grid settled into a gentle glow, ready to protect, but hoping never to harm. In the days that followed, human ships would carry new technologies to their colonies, but more importantly, they would carry a new philosophy of exploration and cooperation. The Keeper began teaching selected humans about advanced technologies, but always with lessons about their proper use. Energy systems that could power civilizations came with instructions about environmental protection. Weapons that could shatter moons were paired with diplomatic protocols for peaceful resolution. Medical advances that could extend life indefinitely included wisdom about the value of natural cycles. Within a year, the galaxy began to notice changes. Human colonies became centers of learning rather than just expansion. Human ships carried aid to struggling civilizations rather than just trade goods. Most significantly, humans began mediating disputes between other species, offering solutions based on understanding rather than force. The other major powers watched these developments with growing respect and, in some cases, envy. The ethereals, humbled by their encounter with the Keeper, began re-evaluating their assumptions about superiority. The hegemony found itself questioning whether conquest really led to security. The consortium discovered that some things were more valuable than profit. Years passed, and gradually representatives from these civilizations began approaching human worlds, not as conquerors or competitors, but as students seeking to learn what humanity had discovered about working with ancient wisdom. The Keeper, through its human partners, began the slow process of teaching the galaxy a new way of existence. It wasn't about domination or exploitation, but about growth and cooperation. The ancient AI had finally found a species capable of carrying its vision forward. Captain Chen, now Admiral Chen and head of the Guardian Corps, stood once again in the crystalline chamber on Europa. But now she wasn't alone. Representatives from dozens of species came here to learn about the ancient ways and humanity's role as shepherds of galactic civilization. "You have exceeded my expectations, old friend," the Keeper told her during one of their regular conversations. "Your species has proven worthy of the trust I placed in you." Sarah smiled as she watched a group of young ethereals working alongside human engineers, learning to build rather than simply command. "We couldn't have done it without your guidance." "You could have, and that is why I chose you. The wisdom was always within humanity. I simply provided the tools to express it." The galaxy was changing, slowly but surely. The age of conquest was ending, replaced by an era of cooperation and mutual growth. Ancient technologies were shared not based on power, but on wisdom. Species that had warred for millennia began working together on projects that benefited everyone. And at the center of it all, humanity stood as guardians and guides, living proof that a young species could mature into something the galaxy had never seen before. The Keeper's long wait was over. The future had finally arrived, and it looked like hope. The Primeval AI had sworn fealty to humanity, not because they were the strongest or most advanced, but because they were the first species in millions of years to prove that power and wisdom could coexist. And in return, humanity had sworn to use that power to lift up all of galactic civilization. It was a partnership that would reshape the universe for generations to come.